Hello, friends. Hello, hello. Welcome in. Hope you all are doing well. Let me bring my mic a little closer. Hi. So, I am so sorry for not sprinting on Wednesday. To be completely honest, I totally forgot that I was even hosting sprints on Wednesday. It got to be Thursday, and I realized, oh, shoot, I didn't stream at all. Whoops. It's fine. It's fine. Everything's fine. It'll be fine. Oh, that was so frustrating though. I literally was like, "Oh, I'm forgetting something. I know that something is not um something's not, you know, whatever." And then it comes to Thursday and I'm like, "I didn't do sprints. I didn't do them." So I felt so bad. But I'm here today. So, yay. I made it. I remember. It's fine. Everything's fine. So hope you guys are doing well today. Hope you all are having a wonderful week, or you had a wonderful week and are going to have an amazing weekend. I don't really have anything planned this weekend. Mostly just staying at home, really, and just kind of relaxing. This is my last weekend before I go back to work on Thursday. So, yay! And at the same time, I can't believe I go back to work in less than a week. Like that's bonkers to me. So yeah, so we're gonna try to get some stuff done today. I really only want to do two things, which are to finish my current read, which is Firekeeper's Daughter by Angeline Boulley. This is a reread for me. I want to finish this because I have like 100 and less than 100 pages left of this. So, and I've read some of it today already, but I want to be able to finish it today. And then I want to get through more of Rich People Problems by Kevin Kwan. This is the third and final book in the Crazy Rich Asian series. I'm currently on page 21 of this, and I like to get to page 50 if I can, or whatever is closest to that, basically. Actually, let me see what I could get to if I did it. Oh, I'd get right onto page 50. Okay, so if I get through the next 4 chapters, I think, I'll get to page 50. But I want to focus first and foremost on finishing Firekeeper's Daughter because I am so very close to finishing it. I'm rereading this for my August TBR, but also I want to reread it so that I can then reread book 2 and then read book 3 because book 2, Warrior Girl Unearthed. Well, actually, let me back up a minute. Firekeeper's Daughter is a Michigan native written story by a Michigan native woman, native as a Native American. And this deals with a set of interconnected stories dealing within the same family from this area of Michigan called Sugar Island near Sault Ste. Marie, Michigan. So, if you've never been to Michigan, you've got the Mitten. Okay, so you guys, this would be what it would look like. You've got the Mitten, then you've got the Upper Peninsula. Okay, right in the tip of the Upper Peninsula, or actually, no, somewhere in here. So, in the Upper Peninsula, basically, there is a town called Sault Ste. Marie. Now, there also is a town called Sault Ste. Marie, Canada. And basically, what it is that there is Lake Superior, right, is between the Upper Peninsula and the country of Canada. So, Sault Ste. Marie, you have that in Michigan. There's an island off of Sault Ste. Marie called Sugar Island, which is a native reservation area. And this story deals with this first book, Firekeeper's Daughter, deals with a girl in the mid 2000s named Donis Fontaine. Donis is half native. Her father was Native American and her mother is white. And so within that, you already have the conversation dealing with, being half white and half Native American, how there are a lot of societal things basically doved up with that in terms of whether you're considered too native or too white in respective areas. So you've got that whole conversation. Well, on top of it, you have Donis. Her uncle, previous to the beginning of the story, had mysteriously died. He had gotten into some kind of accident of some kind, and they believe it was meth involved. which essentially, if you know anything about Native American reservations, you know that drugs, especially methamphetamine, is rampant in reservations, specifically among teenagers. Now, in this story, what happens is that Donis kind of gets roped up into a covert operation where she is trying to figure out what really happened to her uncle and basically figure out the meth ring that there is within her community. And let me just say that having read this now the second time, the first time in a few years, there's a lot that I missed from the first read that I got this time. A lot of like little tidbits that I kind of like hadn't really pieced together at first, but this is a very well done Native American story, especially if you are a Michigan native like me, meaning that you are born and raised in Michigan. But even if you are Native American, specifically Chippewa, like my family is, then you would also enjoy this because there are plentiful references to Native American culture. There's scenes involving powwows and parties and things like that that they do. And it's just chock full of Native American cultural aspects that, as someone who did not really grow up with the Native American culture that I would have liked to have had in terms of like learning more about my family, like history and upbringing, this was amazing to read the first time, and it, excuse me, still has me in some ways in a chokehold because of how just well done this story is. So if you've never read Firekeeper's Daughter by Angeline Boulley, I highly recommend it. It's very heart-wrenching at times because Donis goes through a lot. There is a lot that she goes through in just the case itself, being undercover, things like that. And she's also 18 in this. She's not quite freshly out of high school, just like a little bit out of high school basically, and is in her freshman year of college. So if you're looking for kind of that bridge between YA, not new adult, I would recommend this. This is definitely on the older side of YA. There's a lot of things that are delved into that are more in that older side of YA than you would see in like more typical YA things, if that makes sense. But anyway, the second book is called Warrior Girl Unearthed, which follows actually one of Donis's little cousins in this, Perry. And Perry, that story takes place a little bit more in the modern time, kind of like the mid-2020s, basically. Like, I'm going to say 2022 is when it happens. I can't quite remember off the top of my head, but that one has a lot to do with reparations of Native American bodies that were found from the boarding schools, and also the trinkets and things that they had, especially like when it comes to archaeology. So that one deals a lot with that aspect. And then I don't know what book 3 goes into because I've not yet read it. But the third book, Sisters in the Wind, is one I've been meaning to get to for a while. It came out, I want to say it was last September 2025, I think was when it came out. And I've been meaning to get to it for a long time. I just haven't. And I knew that going into it, I would want to reread books 1 and 2 first because it had been a minute since I had read them. Also, fun fact, this book in particular, and I have another Angeline Boulley book that I believe I have the other one also like this, but this is a signed and personalized copy. So I will be holding on to this for the rest of my life, and rightly so, because there's a lot of obviously ties to it that I really want to hold on to. But signed and personalized by Angeline Boulley herself. I got to meet her a couple years ago. She was moderating a signing event for Ferida Abike Iyemide. It was my very first author signing I've ever been to, so I got to have books signed by both of them, which was awesome. Angelina's super, super sweet, absolutely wonderful. And then I actually got to meet her again a couple months later because in my hometown, which was like unheard of, mind you, for an event like this to happen, let alone there be a well-known author coming into town, I got to meet her again with my mom and basically get more things signed by her because she was doing a talk about her writing process and within the Native aspect, writing the books, and then talking just about her Native heritage, because they were basically doing like a series of talks across the state with Angeline talking about her bringing in her native heritage and learning about herself through, you know, her own experiences with being part native, part white, you know, and those kinds of things, and how that really implemented itself within her writing. So super, super cool lady, absolutely wonderful to talk to, such a sweet woman. And she is an auto-buy author for me, regardless of whatever she puts out. But I'm excited because book 3 is supposed to, I believe, take place between the events of Firekeeper's Daughter and Warrior Girl Unearthed. And then there is a 4th and final book that I think is supposed to take place a little bit more in the future, more in line again with like modern time whenever it comes out. So I'm really excited for what that one's going to be. And I do believe that that final book is supposed to be from a perspective of someone we know in Firekeeper's Daughter, who is, I think, if I'm not mistaken, I think is going to be like a love interest. Like he's the love interest in this kind of, but I think that book 4 is supposed to follow him. I think. Don't quote me on that. I think that's what she said, but I could be completely wrong. So anyway, I've been yapping for long enough. So let me go ahead and get my introduction out of the way for those of you that are new, and then we'll get started. So for those of you that do not know and you're joining me for the very first time, hello, my name is Gabby. I go by the moniker of The Curious Owl. That is here on YouTube, Twitch, Instagram, TikTok, everything. So you can pretty much find me anywhere under the moniker of The Curious Owl, if that's what you want to do. What we do here is I do dual stream on both YouTube and Twitch. And on YouTube, basically, I can see chat and everything. So please feel free to say hi. Let me know what you're reading, what you're working on today. These are going to be productivity, co-working, reading sprints, whatever you need them to be. So please let me know in the chat what you plan on doing today with me. If you are over on Twitch, you also can do that, but then you also have access to the super sweet task bot. This is something that unfortunately people on YouTube are not able to utilize because there is not a command system within YouTube that allows you to connect to the super sweet task bot. But if you are over on Twitch, you have the ability to use any of the task commands over on the left there, and it'll basically help you with keeping track of what it is you're doing and what you're working on and your to-do list of things for tonight. So the last thing, and while I do this, I'm going to get my timer set up because I realized I did not reset it. What we do is we do 4 50-minute timers. This is what's called the Pomodoro method. And essentially what it is that we do 50 minutes of actual work, then we do about 10 minutes of yapping, catching up, seeing how everybody did kind of thing, and we repeat that. So then there's 4 total times we're going to do this. Usually this goes to about midnight my time, if not a little bit later. But usually on a night like tonight, where I've had a headache off and on for 3 days, I may not get to 4. We will see how the night progresses. We'll just put it that way. Thankfully, knock on wood, the headache has mostly gone away, but we shall see. So anyway, hello. Basically what we'll do is we're going to get started right now with what is going to be our very first Pomo. So this is the time to get anything done you need done. Also, quick side note, make sure if you have any meds to take, if you have to drink some water, if you need to go do something to take care of yourself, please also make sure to do that in this time. This is your time to do whatever it is you need to do. So take care of yourself, do your productivity things, do whatever it is you need to do. Okay? Take care of yourselves, but also, you know, do what you need to do. So we're going to go ahead and get started with our first sprint. So I will see you guys on the other side of this first 50. Happy reading, happy productivity, whatever it is you are planning on doing. And I will see you guys in a little bit. Let's go. All right, guys, welcome back. Welcome back from the first Pomo. How did you guys do? What'd you get done? I got to page 439 and I started on page 390, so I read about 48 pages in that first Pomo. Also, my husband had got groceries delivered today, so I helped him with getting all of that unpackaged and put away. So, yeah, I think next sprint I will get pretty close to finishing this, if not finishing it, because I only have like 50 pages left of it. Um, so yeah, we're doing pretty good. So I think, yeah, next sprint I'll be able to finish this one, and then in Pomo 3, I'll probably start working on rich people problems. So there's that. But how did you guys do? What'd you guys get done? Or if you're just joining me, what are you planning on doing today? Excuse me. So yeah, I've got less than a week until I go back to work, and I'm excited, don't get me wrong, but I still have like a lot of things that nobody's told me about, like my classroom, who I'm teaching with, all those things that I've been wanting to find out. And I've reached out to people like tons of times asking, hey, who am I working with, all this stuff. But I was talking about it in therapy today. I kind of just, I think, have to wait until the day that I go back to work to get those answers. It's just probably not going to be anything concrete until I actually go in to work on Thursday, which work on Thursday is really just a new teacher PD where like I get to meet my mentor teacher and meet my department and stuff like that. So it's more of just like getting like new teacher orientation basically. So it's nothing too crazy. And then next Friday I have a free day where I don't have anything that I'm doing. So my plan is next Friday I will probably make it like a full work day kind of thing and go in and get my classroom set up hopefully the way I want to, and then also get some like training stuff done, like bloodborne pathogens and not punching your coworkers in the face kind of trainings, like the yearly stuff that we all have to do kind of thing. I was reading The Pillars of the Earth. Ooh, okay. Very cool. Yeah, so I'm just kind of chomping at the bit, waiting for something to happen. I really, really want to be able to go and get my classroom set up. That's the biggest thing. But yeah, it'll be fine. I'm sure I'll figure out all that information next week. So yeah, so next Friday I'll be doing that stuff, and then the Monday after, so we start school on the 19th. So the 17th, the Monday, is our welcome back, district-wide welcome back thing. And then the afternoon, that's in the morning, and then the afternoon is set up for like PD for the rest of the day. That's like do whatever it is you need to do to set up your classroom, do your trainings, whatever. And then Tuesday, the 18th, is your building specific personal development. So like I will be at the high school. So we'll have like specific PD at the high school building for I think the whole building, if not set up to like different departments, if that makes sense, like general ed, special ed, whatever. I don't know exactly how that's going to work. I'll figure that out when I go in, obviously. But I am very excited. I'm just, right, it doesn't seem like it right at this moment because I'm a little tired because my meds are kicking in. Sometimes I have the urge to punch some coworkers. Yeah, no, I get that. I have had that happen many a time in my life where I've wanted to punch coworkers. But, it's just, you can't do it. You can't. It can be considered harassment, even though the person might deserve it. So, yeah, it's like trainings like that, how not to like touch blood without gloves on, things like that. Like really like commonly known things, common sense things, but like that they have to be reminded about like every year, and like you have to get like certified to let you know this information every year kind of thing. Especially when working in a school environment, it's really important, especially like we have students who are diabetic or that have to use EpiPens or something like that, you know, knowing those things. And then, you know, sometimes in the education field, you could very easily disagree with your coworkers, depending especially on if you are in special ed or general ed, or you're working with really fickle admin and you want to throat punch them, but you just can't because it's against the rules, unfortunately. Yeah. Unfortunately. Yeah, it's one of those things where like, yeah, it's like one of the more annoying parts, I guess, is having to do that. And then we also have like tech training things like how to spot phishing emails, for instance, which I was trained on that so much when I used to work from home, because like our tech department, I used to work like a long time ago. I worked for a really big company as a contracted employee working from home, and we used to have like constant phishing scenarios thrown at us over the course of time because they wanted us to stay on top of it. And like it's just something thank you. It's just something where um thank you. It was like something where basically like you just had to like you had to be on top of whether or not you recognize something was a phishing incident, if that makes sense. And I don't know, it was just like one of those things where like when I was working at this other place, it was so important because we worked with such confidential information, that like it was top priority kind of thing to like be trained on this. So I'm pretty good at figuring out whether an email is a phishing email, because of all that training. So like I know how to do that stuff. I know not to share confidential information with people that do not need it and are not privy to that information. So, but like it's like that silly like orientation stuff every year you have to do, no matter how many years you've done it. So it's but the thing that's nice is that the PD that we have on Monday, we can utilize that time to do those trainings, which is why I'm going to do them on Friday on my free day, because really all else I'm going to do is set up my classroom. So I'm going to have plenty of time to do that. And if I'm going to have my work laptop, which I'm going to hopefully get Thursday, excuse me, it's going to make the most sense for me to do it on Friday when I'm going to be in the building after I've done all my classroom setup, and just utilize that time that I would otherwise be sitting at home doing nothing, getting it done. Because I know for a fact trying to get it done when I'm at home is going to be like not possible because I'm going to get way too distracted way too easily. So that is what it is. But yeah, so I am pretty excited for the next week. I just wanted to be like done and over with and get the school year started. Like I'm in this weird limbo right now where like I'm just trying to keep myself busy until I can actually go to work, because I don't know what else to do, you know? It's not really a lot of pressure per se. It's just it's a lot of trainings. It can be sometimes. Like when I was working in the previous job that I had, it was a lot of pressure. Yes. It was like very difficult to maintain a work-life balance within that job, because I was working from home so often. But the trainings themselves weren't like that crazy. It just was more time consuming and annoying more than anything, if that makes sense. It just was kind of, after a certain point, it was kind of pointless to do. Yeah, my old job, yeah. What was nice though was, I mean, I will say the previous job that I had was like not super crazy. Like I didn't have to do like a lot of like top secret agent kinds of things or whatever, but it was like definitely a job where like you had to make sure everything was on point according to regulations and make sure all the information was correct and all these things before it even, like, I used to basically upload things to a website, long and short of it. But in order to like make sure that it was taken care of correctly, there were a lot of things that needed to be done to get it to that point. And it was really frustrating because sometimes like you wouldn't have all the information right away, and so then you have to go digging for the information when somebody could have just put it into the document initially the first time correctly and we would have had no issues. And then on top of that, like there would be updates that would be pretty constant, and so then we had to make even more updates. And then because technology changes all the time and websites change all the time, and it was just, there's so many different things and so many moving parts that like it was hard to keep up with. And so yeah, it was a lot of pressure, and for a while, that old job. But like the actual work itself was not really that difficult. What was difficult was having to make the adjustments on the fly. Like things could have been going the same way for 3 weeks, and then that third week in a day, like that day after those 3 weeks happen, there would be 5 things that would change all of a sudden, and you're like, what? I have to do what now? And how do I do it? Oh, but you're expecting me to know how to do this right away? I don't know how to do this. Like that was a lot of what it was like working in this position that I had. And it was soul sucking. It was a soul sucking corporate job, truthfully. So I do not recommend, if you're in a soul sucking corporate job, I feel for you. I'm so sorry. But I hope you can find some happiness somewhere in the world to be able to get through it, because good Lord, that job literally sucked the life out of me. Like it was one of the worst aspects of my life, was working in that corporate job, to be completely honest. But I am also a believer that we are all put on a path and have obstacles put in our way that make us stronger and that make us better people overall. And so sometimes we have to go through so many things in order to get to the life that we want. And where I'm at now, I actually was mentioning this to my therapist today. Where I am at now in my life is more joyous and more positive than it has been in a very, very long time. And that has to do with the fact that I am in a career that I really love, that I find so much joy in, that I get so much joy out of it. I am actively pursuing other like activities that I enjoy, with like my crocheting, my content and Twitch streaming and all these different things that I do like on TikTok and Instagram and YouTube and things like that. My creative projects like diamond painting and the paint by numbers and all those things. It is so hard on the body and the mind. Like it's unreal. Like I totally get that there are people who can work from home, but I couldn't do it. I tried it for 3 years almost. And it was the worst. I was the worst I was ever at in my life with that particular job, especially working from home. But comparatively, with everything that I have going on in my life right now, and all the things that I have and all the things that I've built over the last, since I left that job, it's been 5 years? 4 years? I think 4 years. I think it's been 4 years since I left that job. I'm in a much better place in my life. I have built my life now in a way that I am happy with, that I am joyous in it, and I couldn't be more thrilled to be where I am now, truthfully. Like this is the closest to happy that I have felt in a long time. It's not perfect. It's never going to be perfect, mind you. You're going to have better days and you're going to have worse days. But this is the best that I have felt and I don't even know how long. Things are really looking up for me in particular. And I don't know. I'm just happy. I'm just genuinely happy. And I don't think I would not have been able to have said that even 2 years ago. So that's where we're at. Anyway, I've been yapping for a while. So let's go ahead and get into our next Pomo. So we will do our next one of 50 minutes. Happy reading, happy productivity, whatever it is that you are going to be doing in this time. Make sure to take care of yourself, drink your water, hydrate, or eat something. Make sure you've taken your meds if you haven't already. I'll remind you guys again about that some point today. But I will otherwise see you guys on the other side of this next 50. Let's go.
Grainger offers professional-grade products, easy reordering online, and 24/7 support, helping procurement managers keep buildings running so people can keep working. Call, click, or stop by. Grainger, for the ones who get it done.
All right, friends, welcome back. Hope you all had a good and productive 50 minutes. I did end up finishing Firekeeper's Daughter again. 5 stars again. Absolutely love this book and everything that this author writes. So good, so good. If you have not read this, please go read it, especially if you are at all interested in North American, Native American history, especially if you are looking for Michigan Native American history or culture or anything like that. Such a great story that really looks at a part of Native American heritage and culture that is sorely missed within, I think, general contemporary fiction. This is so well done, from the rites and the rituals to the powwows and just the little itty bitty things that every day that this main character Donis does. It's just chock full of amazing cultural things that I would not have expected from anyone else. So highly recommend, especially if you're looking for a kind of older YA mystery thriller. Really good one. So that's my 3rd book completed this month. I carried over 2 from July, because I think I technically started The Cruel Prince the end of July. Maybe not. No, that's not right. I carried over China Rich Girlfriend for sure, but otherwise, I've completed 3 books this month, which is awesome. So now I'm going to move back into reading Rich People Problems by Kevin Kwan. This is the 3rd and final book in the Crazy Rich Asians series. This one looks like it's dealing with a storyline that kind of has been building up at this point through the other 2 books, and this is where everything's gonna really come to a head. The first 2 books were nothing but build up. This is where everything's gonna go down, basically, is what I can tell. Everything's gonna just fall apart, basically. So I think though that the other book I will end up working on is going to be Stormfront by Jim Butcher. This is a fantasy mystery thriller series that has been on my radar for a number of years due to a friend of mine that I've known since high school. And funny enough, so little backstory with this, we actually used this for Battle of the Bookish. My friends that know, I run a readathon twice, well, technically within 4 times a year, but we do 2 month-long rounds and 2 week-long rounds over the course of a year. And one of the rounds we did was really famous detective literary characters. And we had a team that was based on the main character from this series, which is the Dresden Files. That's what it's called, the Dresden Files series. I went into that team as the team leader, but I had never really read the series. But I had heard it was really good. It's, again, that fantasy mystery thriller side of things. This is what the synopsis says on the back for this first book, because I don't even know what it's about going into it. Harry Dresden is the best at what he does. Well, technically, he's the only at what he does. So when the Chicago PD has a case that transcends mortal creativity or capability, they come to him for answers. For the everyday world is actually full of strange and magical things, and most of them don't play well with humans. That's where Harry comes in. Takes a wizard to catch a, well, whatever. There's just one problem. Business, to put it mildly, stinks. So when the police bring him in to consult on a grisly double murder committed with black magic, Harry's seeing dollar signs. But where there's black magic, there's a black mage behind it. But now that mage knows Harry's name, and that's when things start to get interesting. Magic. It can get a guy killed. So it sounds like a magical version of the X-Files to me. Like, this guy's Mulder, basically, and we just don't have a Scully as of yet. I might like this because I really, really like the X-Files. I've not watched the whole thing. I've gotten in a weird loop with some shows where I end up like stop watching them for a minute, and then my husband decides to pick them back up, and I end up in the same spot every time he goes to pick it up. I always end up stopping about halfway through season 2, I think. And not because I don't want to continue watching. It's that sometimes like my husband will just watch without me, and then I'm like, okay. But here's the thing, I'll do that sometimes too with some of the shows that he and I watch that I'm more interested in. But X-Files is one that like we rarely will go back to. Right? Magical version of the X-Files is what it sounds like to me. Because the way that this sounds, the way the synopsis reads, is it very much sounds like this guy is Fox Mulder. Except instead of being obsessed with aliens and science fiction things, he's a wizard and deals with magic stuff. That sounds like X-Files, but magic to me. I don't know. Just me. But that actually kind of makes me more excited to read this. So this has been a long time coming. My friend is going to be very happy, I think, when he finds out that I had started reading this. And this is a fairly short book. That's a pretty small one, at least. Yeah, it's less than 400 pages. And there's an excerpt for the next book on here. It's 352 pages, it looks like, of actual content. So this should be pretty fast for me. But then you get into literal rich people problems. This series is so freaking absurd. Like, I love this series. Hands down. One of my more favorite contemporary fiction, general fiction, like, series. My hubby likes Jim Butcher. Genuinely, I think my husband will like this too. I think that there's something about this that, I mean, obviously, like, male authors tend to find an audience more so with male readers, right? But it's because they write in a certain way. Like this Dungeon Crawler Carl, to my knowledge, and several other like dude bro kind of writers, I think most men gravitate towards. Like George R.R. Martin. J.R.R. Tolkien, for some people, could be considered a dude bro writer. But like, there's something about the way that all of them are written that seem to be for the people who may not necessarily get involved in reading a lot, but when they do, they read like fantasy or like science fiction kinds of things. And they don't read it often, but when they do, there's a certain group of books that they do. And I feel like that the Dresden Files is one of them. Just based on the synopsis. I could be entirely wrong. I could be generalizing. I don't know. But that's what it seems to be. Like when I talk to guys about reading fantasy books and stuff like that, Dresden Files, I do think, is one of the ones that comes up the most often. So maybe that's just me, but I'm excited to try it at the very least. But then you get into this one. This series is like, so I know that like there was that Jessa Hastings series or something like that, Magnolia Parks or something, and it was like rich people, like Real Housewives on steroids or something like that. This is basically taking the Kardashians to a certain extent, which I've never actually seen. So take what I say with a grain of salt, because I've never seen the Kardashians. But what I would imagine the Kardashians being like, with all the drama and all the different side plots and side stories and perspectives that you would get on a show like that. I feel like this is that times 1,000. And it's mostly based on Singaporean and other Asian families. More so Singaporean and Chinese. Those are the two main ones that come up in this series. And this is the uber rich. This is like the people that make hundreds of millions of dollars, if not billions of dollars. And it's just one of those series where like you can't even begin to imagine how this actually would be in real life, because it's just that absurd. But it's so entertaining. It is so entertaining to see some of these random people who you probably like, they're so uber rich that people don't even know they exist, kind of uber rich. And then you have Nick and Rachel. Nick and Rachel, who are just the most down to earth types of people. No, James Marsters does the audio for the Dresden Files. Stop. I hope he does for the one that I have, because I got a copy of the audiobook on Libby. I need to, hang on, hold please. I need to verify this. Oh, hell yeah. My copy does too. Hell yeah. I am so looking forward to that. I love Spike. So freaking awesome. I love Spike so much. Spike, for those of you that don't know, is a vampire character from the show Buffy the Vampire Slayer, and also was in the series Angel. Yeah, me, let me just tell you. So anyway, this is just, it's absurdist entertainment. Like, you have to go into this series like understanding that you're gonna just be thrown off by how stupid some of these people act, coming from someone who is not super rich. So you have to go into it with that mindset. But like, and Nick and Rachel are some of the sweetest people in the world. And Nick, it's funny because in the first book you learn that Nick is from the main family that is like super rich in this series. But he kind of has like drifted himself away from that family because of how absurd they can be with their money and how absurd they can be with their dramatics. So he kind of decided to leave a little bit more of a quiet life, and that's how he met Rachel. And Rachel's like never been a part of this type of uber rich Asian life. She has led a very quiet life with her single mother, and she's also from America. So she's dealt with a little bit more of like an Americanized life, which is very different than what she could have grown up with if she had actually lived in either China or Singapore or anything like that. And so them coming into this whole new world, basically, where there's all these different things and people spending their money left, right, and center on frivolous things, it's literally a culture shock for Rachel, in more ways than one. And this is the third book in the series. This one in particular deals with the fact that Nicholas's grandmother, who is the matriarch of the family, his grandmother's basically on her deathbed, and so now everyone is coming out of the woodwork to try to get on her good side before she dies so that they can be left something of hers, whether it's money, properties, jewels, anything like that, because this woman is freaking loaded. Like, this is a woman where this is one of those people, like I said, where there's people who are so rich that you don't know their names. You don't know they exist. This is one of those women. And so this book is like everyone from the family is coming to like try to feed off the scraps of this woman who's dying. So yeah, that's what I'm going to be getting into with this. But anyway, I've been yapping for quite a bit. So let's go ahead and get into our third sprint. Actually watching the final season of Buffy right now. Oh, I love Spike. Spike is such a freaking hilarious character. There's something about the bad boy vampire who's got a sarcastic side that I cannot help but just adore. Like, it's my weakness. It really is. It's my weakness. Give me a bad boy with sarcasm. I'm gonna fall for him. Like, okay, recently, I finished The Cruel Prince. I don't like the romance that there is in this, but I really liked Cardan by the end of it. I was starting to like him at least a little bit. But I don't like him for probably 3/4 of this book. I don't like him. But you give me a bad boy character who's got sarcasm up the wazoo and is charming and is like let's be real, flirty. Any Baldur's Gate 3 players out there, an Astarion, like, Astarion is basically the type of man that, like, I drool over. Spike is another, because yes. I'm trying to think, what other characters can I think of that are like that? I don't know. Spike and Astarion are the two that really just pop to mind when I think of that. And it's so funny. So, y'all know I've been getting into Stray Kids a lot the last few months, and they just released their new album today, their new mini album, which I'm so excited for. My pre-order is going to come in the next couple weeks, and I can't wait. But one of the guys in there, his name is Hyunjin. He is literally like the embodiment of what high school me would have been so drawn to, that he's considered what I call my bias wrecker, which basically means that, like, you have someone who's like your favorite in a group, which for me is Bang Chan, but then you have your bias wrecker, which basically is someone who kind of like is your second favorite, that could sometimes top your favorite in certain instances. And for me, that's Hyunjin. And Hyunjin, he is this like tall, skinny, dark-haired, like lover boy artist. Like he's actually like an actually like full-fledged artist. Like he paints and he draws and all these things. But then he's got this emo side to him, and he also listens to metal on occasion, and just yum. That man is the embodiment of everything that I fell in love with when I was in high school. And that has not changed to this day. I'm almost 30 years old. That is an aesthetic that has not changed whatsoever. The only difference is now that Bang Chan is the reason why he's my bias, is because he's got that very, for lack of a better phrase, fatherly figure thing about him. That, and also, he is just adorable to boot. I find him visually the most adorable, and I find him to be the funniest out of all of them. Although, I'm not going to get into that, because that's going to be a whole other thing, but No. We're not going on a Stray Kids rant today. Not today. not today. That's for a whole other different group at a whole different time. So let's go ahead and get started with our third Pomo. So I'll see you on the other guys on the other side of this next 50. Happy reading, happy productivity, whatever it is that you guys are doing, and I will see you on the other side. Let's go. All right, guys, that is the end of Pomo 3. I do think I'm gonna head off tonight. My brain is dying currently. It needs to go to bed. My headache's starting to come back, which is not good. Been fighting it off for quite a while, but it is time for me, I think, to go to bed and put it to bed. So I did get to page 50 of Rich People Problems, which is proving to be quite interesting. I don't know how I feel about it yet, but we're getting there. But the rest of the time I spent trying to figure out whether I wanted to do TikTok lives in the future, because I'm getting this idea in my head that I can do 2 days a week of streaming on Twitch and YouTube, and then once a week maybe going on TikTok live to try to build some more engagement on that platform. But I'm unsure of what I want to do with that in terms of when I would do it, because the only day that makes sense to me is to do it on Sundays. But Sundays typically are days where my husband and I will spend most of the morning together, and then he goes to his parents sometimes in the afternoons. But it's not always a for sure thing every single week, and so I don't want to plan on it being every single week, provided that he doesn't go. So I don't know whether or not to do it or not, because it's also an extra work for me to add on another day of streaming, if that makes sense. But I'm unsure. I feel like that I want to do it, but I feel like it could also bring me into some form of ruin, because it's going to maybe be too much for me. I don't know. But it would make it a lot easier, because it could just be from my phone, and it's a little bit more flexible in terms of my setup, right? Like, I don't have to stay here at my desk. I can take my phone wherever I want to go and live stream from there, provided that I have access to a charging cable, depending on how long. Plus, I don't even know exactly how long I would be able to stream on Twitch. I don't know if it's like an hour or not. Yeah, I know, Kay. I just, I'm not sure what exactly is going to work for me at this moment in time. And honestly, I probably shouldn't be thinking on this when I have a headache, but it's been something I've been thinking about for a while, and so I'm like, I really want to do it, but because for the engagement side of things, like, I feel like it makes sense to do it to boost engagement over on my TikTok, but I can't decide if it's worth it, because it's gonna be more flexible, right? That's a positive, but then it's gonna take, you know, time out of my day that I could be using towards something else. However, if I do it when, like, for instance, my husband's not home, like if he's at his parents or whatever, I could do it then for maybe a couple of hours. Like, the list of pros and cons are kind of even for me personally. So it's kind of one of those things where I don't know what to do. I guess maybe it would depend on my bandwidth by that day, because, like, a lot of times too, like, here I would determine it based on my bandwidth whether or not I stream here. There is a few people that stream from both YouTube and Twitch at the same time. They usually go for several hours. Yeah, and that's what I'm doing. That I dual stream on Twitch and YouTube currently. That's why I have this thing here, because you guys on YouTube can't access it, but people on Twitch can. But I dual stream because I know that there are some people who prefer Twitch and some who prefer YouTube. Now the thing is, though, is that with TikTok, I want to build my platform a little bit more over there, and I feel like that going live may help with that. But I'm unsure of if the effort is worth going through and doing that, adding on a third day of streaming in a week like, I don't know whether I would have the bandwidth for that or not. And maybe it's more of a week-by-week basis we see where we're at. Because especially with coming up back into school time for me right now, I don't really know whether or not I'm going to have that bandwidth. So, I don't know. I got to think on it some more. I feel like that, like I said, the pros and cons list for both are pretty equal for me. So it's really making it a very tough decision to decide whether or not to do one or the other. I'm just having a hard time with it. I don't know. We'll see. If I get the gumption to do it this weekend, I'll try it out. But if not, then we'll just kind of do it whenever I can. So, I don't know. We'll see. Anyway, I'm gonna head off for the night, guys. I am exhausted, so I hope you guys had a good time here. I hope that you got some good work in today. I appreciate you all being here and hanging out with me for a little while. I'm just glad, too, that I got both of my tasks on my list that I wanted to get done today, so that's great. I finished a book and continued my next one, so I don't want to overextend myself either. Exactly. Like, that's what I'm afraid of, and I'm almost wondering if it would make me overextend myself. But if I'm doing it on a weekend, like, is it going to... And I'm doing it in a time that I would already be using for reading. Is it... Or other things. Would it... Yeah. That's a whole other thing. So, anyway, thanks for joining me, guys. I will see you all, hopefully Wednesday, which is my next stream day. I'm hoping I'll be back, and hopefully I won't forget like I did this past week. But otherwise, I'll see you guys then. Bye.